Today, from Basement Council of Game Masters, we're getting into some continuing education from the original 7 Days to Pro GMing course. So as you guys know, I use StartPlaying.Games as the booking platform for Game Shop's Basement. And that's what I teach in the 7-day course. However, in this age of computers and the internet and everything, stuff changes pretty fast. And so we're going to get to one of those changes today. So today is September 27th, 2021, and it's Monday. And on Friday, October 1st, StartPlaying.Games is starting a new policy in which all game templates submitted by game masters are required to have what they call safety tools and content warnings. As you can tell, I'm not a big fan of the content warnings. That's what the air quotes are for. But we'll get into that in a minute. Like what I've done about it for Game Shop's Basement, how it's going to affect all of us as pro game masters that may be using StartPlaying.Games as our booking platform. So, what do they mean by the safety? Well, first of all, none of this, as a little disclaimer here, is to diss on StartPlaying.Games. We love them around here. And it is quite literally true that I could not have built Game Shop's Basement without them. Okay, they spend tons of money on Facebook on ads that I don't have to spend, that I don't even have to spend if I wanted to. But people find me on StartPlaying.Games. They join Game Shop's Basement because of ad revenue that was spent by StartPlaying.Games. My business model could not work without them. Okay. However, they're not perfect. There's things you like and don't like in any relationship, and business relationships are no different. So these safety tools, these content warnings and stuff, they're going to be required starting on Friday. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, another cool thing that they've done is they have written up their own version, and you can use it if you want. So if you agreed with their version and thought their version was cool or fine or whatever, just want to fulfill the requirement, just want to check off the box and make sure this is done because I want to keep making money as a game master with StartPlaying.Games, you could just copy and paste theirs. They give you permission to do so. That is actually a cool thing. They make it easy to comply. They've done the work for you. They actually made up a version. The problem is, for me, I think their version stinks. I don't agree with it. And so they said that, you can make up your own. So I went ahead, I'm going to post, with the one we use now for Game Shop's Basement so that we can be in compliance with the StartPlaying.Games policy. Because they said you can either use theirs or you can make your own. Well, I opted to do the work and make my own because I don't like theirs. I'm going to share a few thoughts on theirs here. And these are things that we have to think about as game masters. So for instance, one of the things that they're concerned... Now, the thing is, in terms of internet safety, yes, that's a thing. Okay? Internet safety is important because there are axe murderers out there. We could joke about it, but... and it is super, super rare. It's like being struck by lightning, but it does happen. There are people who have trusted people they met on the internet too quickly or given out information that was a little bit too personal on the internet. That's what real internet safety is about. Real internet safety means things like, if you hang out with us at Game Shop's Basement in our Discord server, if you don't volunteer your real name, then I just assume that you don't want to, and I don't pry, and I don't push, and I'll call you by your Discord name, because that's netiquette, internet etiquette, and that's part of internet safety, real safety, the protecting somebody from really, getting hurt, protecting them from some cyber stalker tracking them down or something. That's what real internet safety is. Now, the internet safety that they're addressing in this paper here, or these safety tools, they have to do with emotional safe space safety. So for instance, there's a concept in here called bleed. Emotions and stress from the game can bleed over into post-game life. This can affect the enjoyment of the game as well as out-of-game relationships between players and GM if not worked through. Okay, it's a game. If emotions and stress come from the game, what are you gaming for? Gaming is supposed to be let loose and release those emotions and stress, not build them up and make them create a problem. If D&D is where you relax and don't think about work and your job and other things that cause stress. If D&D is causing stress, stop the D&D. It's like the whole or don't play with that group or something. It's like that old joke about how if somebody goes to the doctor and says, "Oh, it hurts when I do this," and the doctor says, "Don't do that," but but there's this really lays it on thick here, being open and honest about where the game begins and ends, and being conscious of which feelings belong to the player and which are just bleed, helps to mitigate the effects. What is gaming your therapy session? I mean, if it is, then as a professional GM, I should be making a lot more money if I'm giving people therapy. I mean, what the? And so some suggested safety tools here include, I love this one. It's a rewind. So somebody who feels uncomfortable because something happened in the game that they're uncomfortable with, a rewind can involve the player calling for a rewind, not the DM, the player, and then the player rewrites the scene that just happened. Not the DM, the player. The player rewrites the scene that just happened, and then the story continues the way the player just rewrote it. Oh yeah, like that's not going to ever be abused. Like, who's the DM? These safety tools are just out of this world. They're not about safety. They're about emotional safe spaces and snowflakiness and stuff. I mean, they're not. This real internet safety involves not having cyberstalkers track you down. That's what real internet safety is. If you're not clicking with your D&D group for whatever reason, find a new group. Okay? Like, if you click with none of the groups with Game Shop's Basement, if you don't click with me as a DM, then find a new group. It's what you should do. There are a bazillion D&D groups out there. There's a bazillion Dungeon Masters out there. I'm not the only one. Find one that clicks for you. This is obnoxious. So I'm going to go ahead. So I'm posting. So I did write up. Now, this is a policy that if you're going to stay on the platform, StartPlaying.Games, you have to comply with this policy. This October 1st. They're not going to approve any more games if they don't have safety tools and content warnings. So I changed the wording a little bit. Instead of content warning, I said content advisory. At least that verbiage works a little better for me. Since I don't really believe in that content warning stuff. Content advisory. Yeah, I could buy into that. Content advisory. But, so the Game Shop's Basement safety tools and content advisory, I wrote that up yesterday, and I'll post it here so you guys can see it, probably in the next post up or down, below this video. And feel free to use it. Change it a little bit maybe, because I tell some personal anecdotes in it and stuff like that. It kind of came out like a blog entry, really. So it's something that's come up with StartPlaying.Games. It's not my favorite thing about them. We love them. They're awesome. This is not my favorite thing about them, though. In my next video, I'll kind of break down, you can read it ahead of time because I'm posting it, but in my next video I'll kind of break down the safety tools and content advisories that I did write for Game Shop's Basement and why. But you've already heard me rant about this topic long enough. Yeah, it's enough for this video. But I will talk about what we did create for safety tools and content advisory in the next video. So in the meantime, I'll see you in game. All right, safety tools and content warnings. All right, but continuing education, if they're going to do this, then, and I taught a class that says to use them, then if they're going to change something, gotta talk about it.